Hi, this is Joel at DriveX. We're here today to walk you through an oil change and the DriveX expectations. So one of the first steps is you want to get set up. Opening your van doors so you can access all your tools and equipment is the first start to setting up your job. I start by throwing down our oil protection safety mat. This prevents stains on asphalt and concrete, which will prevent the managers and owners of the business from being upset, or the customers you go to their houses. We're gonna lay down our mat and slide it underneath where the oil pan is in the bottom of the vehicle. To protect from splashes and spills. The next step will be opening your side door and grabbing your oil pan out of the vehicle. We're gonna walk over to the vehicle and set this underneath the drain plug, which is located at the oil pan. So we're gonna inspect our oil filter for any leaks, just to make sure it was properly tightened before we take it off. Then we're gonna come to our hood and open our hood. Next, we're gonna pull our dipstick out of the dipstick tube. Then we're gonna pull our oil filler cap. That'll help the oil drain out faster, especially when the vehicle is cold. And that's located right here. Then we're gonna put on our proper safety gloves, just to ensure we don't get oil all over our hands while we're touching the customer's vehicle. Next, we're gonna get our sockets, ratchets, and any oil filter removal tools ready so we can do our oil change. I usually grab multiple sockets just to make sure I have all the tools when I'm underneath. The magnet trays prevent your tools from sliding and falling around everywhere, and it also prevents from losing your drain plug when you remove it from underneath the vehicle. Now we're gonna grab our ratchet, and that'll help us remove the drain plug from the vehicle. Also, you wanna make sure that you have the proper oil filter removal tool to remove your filter. Some filter removal tools are different. It's all about what the technician prefers. We also want to take a can of brake cleaner with us to clean off all the excess oil from underneath the vehicle. It ensures that you did a good and clean job and makes the customers happy so your vehicle doesn't drip oil all over the asphalt or pavement. Always while doing your oil change, you want to take some rags underneath with you to wipe the excess oil off the plug area and the oil filter area. This will make it clean, so when you put everything back on and spray your brake clean, you don't have much residual contaminant around the filter and plug. Now that we have all of our tools and cleaning supplies and rags, we're gonna go under and start doing our oil change. Now we're gonna check our oil filter plug size. Usually it's around 16 to 13 millimeters. So when we go to remove our oil plug, we want to ensure that the plug's not stripped or damaged upon removal. Usually it'll indicate if it's too tight while removing, you have damaged threads on the oil plug. That'll suggest a replacement of the plug itself. Then you want to wipe your hand and the oil plug off before putting it back into the oil pan when you're done. We're going to go back outside of the vehicle to the van and start filling up our oil container. Filling up your oil container is a good reminder when you set it in front of the vehicle that you haven't put oil back in the vehicle. You're going to want to grab a funnel and your oil container. We're also going to grab our oil fill container, and it has indication marks on here on where you should fill your oil. Vehicles take anywhere from 4 quarts to 7 quarts. Make sure you properly check your service guide before filling this and you're at the proper capacity for your vehicle. Remove the lid off your oil container and fill to the proper capacity mark. Always have a rag. These tend to drip everywhere. So turn your oil pump on, and then you could start properly pumping oil. So now that we're almost at our proper oil capacity level, we're going to stop this and then shut the pump back off. Like I said, having the rag ensures that you don't drip and spill all over your van. And recap your oil fill container. to ensure and preventing spills and drips on asphalt or pavement. Now we're going to grab our oil funnel. Also, get your oil filter from your van before leaving. You can ensure either in the book or in your online service guide what filter is properly used for the vehicle. We're going to take it over to the vehicle. Now we're going to place the oil funnel in our oil fill line. Now we're going to properly install our drain plug inside of the oil pan again. Wipe off any residual oil and then retighten your oil plug. Now we're going to remove our oil filter off the vehicle, making sure your oil pan is in the proper spot to collect all the oil that drains out of the oil pan. Letting the oil drain out as much as possible will help you from spilling on the floor and causing a mess. Sometimes it takes a while for the oil to drain out of the filter. The best case for this is take a rag while it's draining and spin the filter off. This will collect any oil residual that's falling out of the filter. Then you want to properly spin the filter over to drain out into the pan. Take your rags and let the oil finalize its drain out. And we're going to go back and wipe our oil lines and our oil seat. Making sure the old oil ring isn't sitting on this section is a big thing for causing an oil leak. You always want to check and make sure that that part is not on that oil filter housing. Removing the filter from the box. Also ensuring that the plastic is removed from the bottom of the oil filter. We're going to then take some oil and we're going to rub it around the oil filter gasket. This will allow this to remove easier from the vehicle when you're completed with your work. You don't want to over tight your filter as well. You always want to ensure that your filter is tight by hand, snugly. Then go back through, wipe your filter off, and use your brake clean to clean the area where oil has been left. Re-wipe the filter in the area, and you're done with this portion of the oil change. Now we're going to collect all of our tools and supplies that we use to do the oil change, set it back into our magnet tray, as well with our ratchet and our trash, and slide it out of the vehicle. We're going to carefully grab the handle of the oil fill container. We're going to slide it out towards the vehicle. Now we're going to come out of the vehicle, take our oil dump container, go to our vehicle, remove the cap, open the lid, and dump our oil out slowly to prevent from spilling. After our oil's draining, we're going to turn and set this right here. So while we're doing our oil change, the pan can finalize its drain out, not leaving a bunch of oil inside of the drain pan. Now we're going to grab our oil filter and set it in our oil filter container, grabbing a rag to ensure no drips or spills. Then we're going to wipe our area just to make sure everything is clean, so we don't have any oil contaminant anywhere. We'll leave this to drain out for a while. Now we're going to grab our oil fill jug, remove the lid, and slowly pour this into the funnel. Now that our oil is done draining, we're going to slowly remove this, wipe the tip of it, and put the cap back on. Removing our funnel and recapping the oil fill line so oil doesn't splash back out of the oil fill line and cause damage to components on the vehicle. The best way I found to get rid of my oily rags is to pull my gloves over the oily rags as well, preventing oils and spills. I walk over to my vehicle and I put this in the trash. Now we're gonna grab our oil filter sticker to make sure we write down the proper mileage for the next oil change and the date and oil type that goes on this sticker. Grabbing our old sticker removal tool and our Sharpie to properly write all of our specifications on here. We're going to enter the vehicle and then remove the oil filter sticker. And like I said before, this ensures easy and fast removal, leaving no sticker goo on the window. Also keeping the managers, the owner of the business, from getting mad because you left residuals on the window. Properly cleaning this area will ensure good customer service. So now we're going to turn the vehicle over to ensure the capacity when we go out to check the vehicle is at the right level. And so we can get the mileage, date, and oil weight. Some vehicles specify 7,000 miles based on full synthetic, and some are 5,000 miles based on semi-synthetic, and SAE oils are 3,500 miles. So you add your 5,000 miles to whatever your mileage says. Now we're going to shut the vehicle off and we're going to place the sticker up in the left-hand top corner of the window. We're going to remove our oil dipstick and clean it off before checking our oil. This will ensure that it's at the proper oil level. There's usually indication check marks on where the oil should be. Usually you want it a little bit away from the top, or depending on dealer specification. Reinstall the oil dipstick and then remove it. Now you have an indication that it's at the proper fill level. Now we're going to reinstall our oil dipstick. Now we're going to close our hood. Ensure everything is properly latched for safety purposes. Thank you for watching this educational video here with DriveX. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.